organizers, welcome to this video where we are going to try out the Pivo, which is an attachment to my phone to try to track me and follow me. It only works within 30 feet or so for tracking, so we're going to see how this goes. I thought it'd be worth trying anyways, and we're doing some bridleless with Alicia.
So this is going to be a little bit of a review of the Pivo, but also showing you guys a little bit of what Alicia and I are doing bridleless. So starting off a little bit with some sideways over some boxes. So we're starting to build up her confidence, going sideways over some different things and the length of the things. So this is a bit of a longer obstacle, and it can be easy to get a horse to side pass over like one block or one barrel, but then when you want to go for a much longer obstacle, it can be a little bit of a different challenge. So there she kind of is going the wrong way because she's kind of saying like she'd prefer not to have to go in that particular direction. And then I'm just kind of staying with her a little bit and kind of using a little bit of rhythm. And eventually she is going to go sideways over that block, but took a little bit of convincing in the beginning that it would be something that she is able to do. But you see that she can go over, and she's doing that pretty darn nicely. It just needs to work a little bit on that confidence and kind of taking me seriously, that even though we're bridleless, that we can still listen to the things that I'm asking her to do. So now we're going to do a little bit of backup stuff and just practicing with playing with the different cues. Sometimes she can get a little bit confused still if I'm like there, I'm asking her to back up her bum, and sometimes between backing up the bum or the shoulders, it can be a little bit confusing. So doing these different pull exercises and going in the different directions is really good to just help her put together the pieces a little bit more. And sometimes when you give the horses a visual, it makes it a little bit clearer as to what it is that I'm asking her to do. See here, I'm turning myself around and gonna do a little back up here and aim for those poles. And you can see she's kind of moving around a little bit and kind of saying, I'm not sure that I want to back up between those things. It's always a little bit harder to get your horse to back through something when they don't get to walk through it and already be kind of stopped between it. So she's just seeing, okay, well, do I have to do it? Can we go over this way? And she's actually straddling the pole there for a little bit and then brings herself back in. And then here she has to listen to me moving her bum over a little bit. And she goes a little bit too much, but then I'm able to correct her over. So doing this kind of training is not just about whether or not she can get through those poles and the different things that we're doing. It's also about, you know, did she freak out when she kicked that box? No, she didn't. So that's fantastic, because this training is also about building up her confidence that, you know, things might not go perfectly, but you're going to be okay. You're not going to get hurt. So then I thought, well, let's try testing out this Pivo and see if it can track me doing some circles around and building up some speed, and also getting into some jumping and stuff. So this was pretty funny and interesting because I'm, you know, watching this Pivo thing to see if it can track me, and it's actually doing a pretty darn good job. And I'm also riding my off-the-track thoroughbred bridleless, and so it's kind of interesting because I wasn't just focusing on my horse, I was focusing on this Pivo tracking device. Now, if after watching this video you're like, yeah, I'm gonna get myself a Pivo, that's really cool, want to be able to track me doing whatever that is that you're doing, then definitely check out the link in the description. If you use my affiliate link, I do get a tiny little commission, I think it is, that they give us, so it doesn't cost you any more money. And to buy a Pivo, I think it's like $120, so it's pretty good deal for what it's able to do. So you just saw that it lost me when I went cantering past the jump there. So this is a little bit of a test the way I set up in the arena. On that far side where I just came from, I'm probably about 50 feet from the camera, I would think, at the farthest wall. And then on the other side of the wall, on this side, I'm probably about 20 feet. So it has a much harder time tracking me when I'm close to it, I've discovered, than when I'm far. So this is me going. That's on the far side. I'm about 50 feet away and I'm coming around. And this is really cool because I'm playing around with the camera, but I'm also, testing out my horse's bridle is pretty darn good for the steering and playing with the different speeds. That was a little bit of an awkward jump. Overall, though, my horse is doing a really good job at just kind of going with the flow of things, and we're making a lot of different transitions. So here I'm kind of testing out if I slow down to a trot as I come around the corner, the Pivo can track me pretty well as I'm coming around. So I thought, okay, well, can it now, does it like learn, okay, I'm picking up speed and I'm coming around the corner? Can it understand if I grab a canter and I'm going in the same direction? So it's doing a pretty good job. It cut off the front end of her as we came around there, but overall it was able to at least keep pace. And then as I keep a bit of a continuous speed going, it does an okay job. Like it does follow me through. Again, it cuts off her head a little bit. Definitely does much better when it's further away, which is interesting because on the box, I think it said it was ideal at like 30 feet. And so that's 20 feet and it's cutting off my horse's head. And on the far side, when it's like 50 feet away, it's actually tracking the best. Of course, you guys aren't getting to see as good a detail because it's a little bit further away, but it's definitely doing a better job tracking. So I'll show you guys a couple other little clips here. We're doing a little bit of backup stuff, and I am riding with another person in the arena. So one of the interesting things is that when there's the two horses in the ring, it's like, okay, who is it going to follow, and kind of being aware of that type of thing. So here I'm coming around and I do get kind of close to the camera sometimes, and it does say like don't get super close on the instruction manual, but we're just playing around and seeing what it can do. Now this direction, it tends to have a much harder time. I go over the jump and I get too close, I guess, to the camera too quickly coming off that jump, and it just doesn't figure out how to track me coming off the jump in that particular direction. So I also, so this is actually Franny going over the jump there. And it's funny, it catches Franny because I guess she did it way, way slower than me. So then it's caught on to Franny following her horse. And once I realized she did that, I'm like, okay, I got to get it to catch me. So I bring my horse around and trying to get the Pivo to now catch on to me. And so it still kind of was on Franny there. It was going to pick me up, but I decided to just come close to it to get it to catch on or lock on to my horse. Carefully not to be too close together. You can see my little sideways cue comes in handy, and then Franny can exit stage right, and then the Pivo's locked on to me again. So I guess kind of interesting when you've got more than one person going around in the arena. So here's a little look going to this side again. It's slow, but it still catches on to her tail there and brings it back around. And this is kind of interesting for me to know. Probably when I'm going to use this in the future, I'm going to just put it on the rail and have it track rather than making it spin all the way around in a circle. Here I slow her down and I stop her and it catches me just fine in the camera angle. But it is kind of interesting that it can totally spin around in a circle and be able to still film. As long as I'm not going too fast, then that's kind of a cool feature that it can do that. Now, the upside to this thing is that you literally just, turn it on, sync it with your phone, and like press record and go. I also have a Pixio, but it's kind of annoying because you set it up to a normal video camera. You have to set up all the little tracking beacon things around the arena. And then you have to, because it's on a normal video camera, you have to then pull that video footage from the camera to be able to upload it later. So it adds a little bit of an extra step and is kind of annoying. So much easier to use this because it's just attached to the phone. But of course, the downside is that is not zooming in and zooming out with the footage. So you can see it also didn't do a good job with some of these other transitions going close by it or the jumps towards it. That was a little bit tricky for it. But I could tell if it was not catching me as I was coming around. And all I had to do was just ride back in front of it slowly to get it. So for $120, I would say that it's probably the best tracking thing that you can get because it's literally tracking motion, which is pretty cool. So you don't have to wear like a watch or something for it to track you with, which means you're only charging one little thing. And after I filmed this video, I've since filmed a few more videos with it. And so I can tell you that I've done several hours, or at least a couple hours of video footage with it, and it's lasted all on one charge. So it's a pretty hardy thing. It lasts quite a while, which is different from my Pixio, which I'm lucky if I can get 2 hours out of it, which can be a little bit frustrating just in terms of, you have to set up all the things, they've got to be turned on, and then you got to turn them all off if you want to go between horses. So this was pretty simple and easy to use. So a few more little jumps going around, and you can see that it does a decent job tracking if I can have a consistent pace coming around. Throw in my little bit of a hard stop there coming around. And overall, I'm pretty impressed with using the Pivo. I'm definitely going to try using it again in the future and make it part of my videos. Hopefully it makes it a little bit more enjoyable for you guys, but definitely learning that I will put it on the rail and not put it in the center, just so it's a little easier for it for tracking. And Alicia, I think, is doing super duper. She does not look like a fresh off from the track thoroughbred. She looks like a chill cucumber. Well, you know what I mean.